Yeah, we're here at Sacred Soul Mornings talking about spiritual stuff with my mom, Marcia, and I'm Megan. We've been
Mhm.
diving into the Tao Te Ching and
Yeah,
life.
and life. It's mainly life. And we decided to use the Tao Te Ching to kind of guide some of our discussions, but it's not necessarily all just about that. And just kind of guide it a little bit.
I hope the sound didn't cut out. I'm so not professional. I'm playing around with the volume and I was like, mute. But I love your cat. We are using Midnight Starlights behind you. We are using the
Oh,
Tao Te Ching to guide some of our discussions because it's fun. And it's like the millionth time we've read it, but now we're getting it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna turn around and look at my cat.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There she is. Okay.
You're in
All
the
right.
way, you're in the flow. The cat's like, good vibrations. So, oh, I forgot to look that word up. Mom, the
Oh,
chapter
you did look it up.
14. I don't know how to pronounce it, I guess. Never mind. So
Yeah.
we're in chapter 14, which is one we're like it almost seems like the same thing as the first chapter, which is pretty
Mhm.
much we can't define what the Tao is.
Yeah. That
Right?
that can't be named or
Yeah, the Tao that can be told is not the true Tao. Names that can be named are not true names, da 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 da. So a lot of people know those words. That's the first chapter. But chapter 14 is very similar. Um, and I need to know how to this definition of this word because in my version it's the ineffable Tao, and I don't know that word, and I love words. It says it's too great, too beautiful, or too powerful to be expressed in words.
I love that.
Of course. And that's probably why I don't know that word, because how many times do we use it? Not
Yeah.
much. That'll be my word of the week.
But now it's going to be a new word.
I'm gonna use
Do-
it all the time on the phone, Mom.
Yeah.
What's yours? Title.
Okay. And my title is Return to Our Breath.
Ooh, that makes sense too. You may go ahead and read it in my literal translation-y
Yes.
copy. Here's the author of that one. Oh, not, I mean, we know it's Lao Tzu, the old man, but I mean like John Minford. Okay. I don't know, translator and commentary compiler. Look and you never can see it. It is too subtle. Listen and you never can hear it. It is too faint. Feel for it and you never can take hold of it. It is too elusive. These three merge into the one. They form the ineffable whole of the Tao. There is no realm of brilliance above it, no realm of darkness beneath, just strand upon strand of the Tao, unnameable, returning to non-matter, form without form, ineffable image without substance. Greet it, and its front cannot be seen. Follow it, and its rear is invisible. Attain mastery of present being by understanding the Tao of old. To understand the ancient beginning is the binding strand of the Tao.
Very interesting. I
Mm-hmm.
know when just looking up on the internet, I was about chapter 14, and some of the things that you
Yeah.
said in much more colorful words, not colorful, but in more descriptive words. Um, One thing that I wrote down is even if the world collapses, and this person used the word Tao, the Tao remains.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty powerful for us to think about because that kind of gives you a sense, even though we can't really grasp it, but it kind of gives us a sense of what Lao was talking about. Tao has no limit in time and space. And then we talked about that words can't adequately explain the Tao. And then another thing that was said, the first thing was Tao and the fundamental cause to every effect. The Tao brought order to chaos, whereby the world was shaped. So we think about God, or I do. I think about how I was, raised to believe that God created everything, and so this kind of shows even more is what I'm thinking. And then the last thing, when you were talking about strands, the last thing I wrote down was the unbroken strand is the endless procreation according to the law of Tao. And then that made me think of the Xfinity symbol.
Oh yeah.
on the unbroken strand. But anyway, so those were some of the thoughts that I saw this morning. And we were talking about earlier this morning when we were kind of just saying good morning over the phone and
Yeah.
about the weekend and whatever all we were talking about. We were saying that today, since this is kind of just a little bit more expounding upon what we were already had been talking about with the Tao, that maybe just kind of make some of our our what we're doing personally on a daily basis or periodically just to be on this journey, to be on this life journey. But anyway, before that, I wanted to read from my book right here that
William
has
Martin. Yeah.
uh, that
Says
has the
Martin.
application of
Mhm.
this chapter. And it says, and it's talking about the breath. And that made me think of my yoga class that I went to earlier this morning. And I had some anxiety thoughts, and I thought, well, I really need to go to this yoga class because I need to practice the breathing. Anyway, so I just made that real life connection.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
breathing is the most natural and effective gateway to the experience of the present moment. So being in the moment and focusing on the breathing and yoga, that is part of that practice. All of our esoteric, okay, there's a word. All of our esoteric speculations fall away when we turn to the simple experience of breathing in and breathing out. It is profoundly simple, but it is a simplicity that is terribly difficult to practice. I loved reading that because it is hard to
Oh,
practice.
I love to hear that too. Thank you.
Condi- conditioned men- and there's more conditioned mental habits continually pull us into the realm of looking for something. So here's this person wrote this. I am going to spend the next 5 minutes just sitting here breathing, not writing, not thinking about writing, just breathing. Join me. Then the next thought he wrote was, during the past 5 minutes, I watched my mind take me to at least a dozen different places, to magazine articles, movies, fears, and conversations with friends. Each time I drifted off, I returned my attention to my breathing and just sat there. What was the 5 minutes like for you? So, anyway, I appreciate this person writing that
Yes, thank you.
because it is really hard. I know was talking with Megan, not just this morning, but other more times too. Um, I'm so grateful that I have friends to go walking with periodically when I have time. But before I developed these friendships, I walked alone. And I've talked about it on these podcasts, and I would call it a walking meditation.
Hmm. Just
And
around the college, right?
yeah,
And
because
yeah,
I feel safe and it's familiar to me. And I would do like try to do some affirmations, positive things inside of myself to get into my heart, to change those. Well, chapter 13, when we were talking about the container. And
yeah.
so all those things that we think that is really shapes our ego and those pathways that we've made in our brain that makes um, us live in this world. I have in the past, during my walking meditations, have probably been working on reshaping that a little bit um, in this journey of life. So anyway, I appreciate that this author said that because it is hard. With my
With
friends, I don't.
with your
Yeah,
friends, which are wonderful, and you guys do really
yeah,
big walk. You go like, how
yeah.
many miles is that? I don't know.
We do 5.
5 miles for fun. Yeah, you all
Yeah,
do that. Seems so
yeah.
unattainable to me at the moment. And you'll do that a lot. But you're in the present because you're talking and talking to them, right?
Yes. Uh-oh. It just
Oh,
something.
lag. I think we're good. We're good still.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I think I said this. I was walking around talking to you this morning on the phone about this chapter, and I was in Walmart. I was getting stuff, eyelashes in Walmart. I was thinking again about Wayne Dyer. which is one of my favorite people. But Wayne Dyer was very, and I know he, like we show the best of ourselves. So maybe he was just showing the best of himself, but he seemed very regimented about certain things. And he didn't he run like every
Mm.
morning, like 5 miles every morning. He did hot yoga. And I know he's like, and then I light my candle in my office and I shut the door and I meditate for it was like a minimum of an hour every day.
No.
And he always was barefoot. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I want to do that, but that 5 minutes of breathing, even
Hmm.
when you're just saying it right now in my life right now, for some reason, that 5 minutes of breathing is like
Seems a
really
challenge.
hard for me at this season of my life.
Yes,
I've
at
had
this season
different
of life.
seasons,
Hmm.
but this season,
Yeah, it's
that
very
5 minutes is like a choice I have to make away from me binging on Netflix. Like if I have time, I'm like, what am I gonna do? I have time, I have time. I'm gonna eat. Am I gonna take a shower? I'm gonna do laundry if I have time. Or am I
Mhm.
going to watch this Netflix show for 5 minutes that nobody else wants to watch? Or breathe.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Well, and I get it.
I
I
know.
know what we're talking. I get that because it's 5 minutes to rest your brain, to rest your mind a
And
little bit.
5 minutes is not even long, but that 5 minutes apparently feels difficult to the writer of that book, and he still had some good thoughts.
Well, and I appreciate Lao expressing to or who or the people group of people that he was
You don't
with.
know. The old man, right? My old man.
Yes, that he was saying you can't run for it. Oh well,
Yeah.
that's what my little part was talking about. It was saying looking, okay, what we are seeking can't be seen, heard, or touched. It is our essential unity beyond the divisions of our senses. It's not obvious to the mind, but neither is it hidden from the heart. I like that. Looking at nothing, all of a sudden it's there. But the moment we see it, and here's the part I appreciate, it disappears,
Yeah.
leaving only a vague memory. It's like, wait a minute, did
Yeah,
I
that's what it's
really?
called. The way. It's the
Yeah,
way of everything. It's not just the way of us. It's like once you discover it, you go, wait a minute, I'm already in it.
I'm already in it.
And so we said that in our morning talk. While I was driving around, I said that is that it's a rediscovering. It's a rediscovering of what you've been living in anyway. It's the breath of the universe. It's the beat of the universe. Everything inside and outside matter and in us,
Mhm.
it's everything. And whether we want to feel like we're in it or not is up to that awareness. And so, like, we'll go back to our first video. I guess I watched that the other day where we talk about when you're not in the flow, then you're not in the way, and you're just getting beat by sticks in the river and clawing in the mud, and you're just paddling upstream. Why? I don't know. But humans really seek knowledge and seek control and seek our own striving. And that's what makes us miserable.
And yeah, and I've been personally kind of been, I guess I've been hanging on to that stick
Yeah. And we keep
recently.
doing it every day. It is a struggle to not hang on to the stick,
Hmm.
probably because of the people around us, which is why a lot of the people in here,
Relationships.
mhm, the going out and leaving to go be in the mountains, to go be in the woods, to go to the desert for 40 days is
Hmm.
important.
Hmm. So I'm finding that time. I'm going to finish, and then it says chasing after the Tao, chasing after it is useless. So that's good to hear too. It's not like we like making a duty out of, okay, I'm going to spend 30 minutes breathing or 5 minutes
For two
breathing.
hours meditating or doing
Uh,
yoga every day. Yeah, yeah.
chasing after it is useless because it didn't begin anytime and it isn't going to go anywhere. To realize our true nature, we need only to return to our breath in the here and now. So I do appreciate
I
that.
love that. And I love it too to know because I used to spend a lot of time on like subreddits for enlightenment and awakening and stuff just because I'm like where's my tribe, where's my group of people? Sorry, I
Yeah.
shouldn't say tribe anymore, but I mean a collective group of people.
Hmm.
um where are they? And so sometimes I would find some peace in there, but there's this overarching, arching problem in those groups of trying to strive to get something. They're like, if I do this, if I take ayahuasca, if I decide to go inside and meditate with this level of intensity for a week and fast, then I will see something. If I do mushrooms, I'll see something. Everyone's waiting for that. And this is saying there's nothing that you're waiting for. You're not waiting for anything. You're just waiting to silence that ego part,
Hmm.
that yang part, so that you can see the rest. So you
Hmm.
can see the flow that is under everything, the current that is under everything, and then go with it,
Yeah.
maybe, whatever that means,
Hmm.
as we go about our lives and do our things and go to Walmart and pick up kids and watch Netflix and look at my pile of laundry that is still in the middle of the rug. Mm.
Mm, that is a young household's thing, laundry. Sure, with kids and all. Mm.
Well, that's only one pile of it. The other ones are in the
It's okay. You don't have to tell about all your laundry.
whatever.
Oh.
It's true, though. I say that stuff because I know people find themselves in the same position. And you feel
Hmm.
like it's so unattainable to try to carve out a minute for 5 minutes or a little altar somewhere so you can find peace with a little candle. And I mean, trying to find that corner of your room somewhere can be really hard for people.
And then during that 5 minutes, especially you as a mother of younger children, um, if you did carve out that 5 minutes, it's just like the person was saying in that this commentary, then the 5 minutes you're going to be thinking about everything else under the sun. And then
Yeah.
5 minutes is done.
Or even this thing. Where is it? I don't have it on. I'm sorry.
Oh.
This thing. Because this is my backup for if I'm not paying attention, is my Apple Watch. Because then it'll buzz and let me know if everyone's okay at school, everyone's okay at daycare, everyone's okay everywhere. It'll physically buzz on my hand to let me know,
Yeah,
which is a whole new invention of
that is, isn't it, of a distraction. Well, I know I was mentioning to you this morning about something that saw on TV on a show, and this woman was suggesting that or her practice is to go outside and take her shoes off and stand on the grass, and she would say things out to the universe, to God or whatever, about gratitude, things that she's grateful for about 10 minutes. She would allow herself to do that. And so I was telling you about that this morning, and you were going, but mom, if I had to do that as a time of every day, that's the first thing I do as soon as I get up and put my clothes on, is go out there and do that, then it would change into a job. It would
that's true.
change
It
to a
would change to a job.
duty.
For me, it would change into a job because I would have to wake up at probably 5:15 in the morning and then maybe sneak away from my toddler,
Yeah,
which may not work.
yeah, I think it
Like,
would work.
I cold. So, and then my older daughter would be like, Mom, why are you in the yard? She could see me outside, and then the dog would bark. So even
Oh.
finding that, I know everyone would lose their minds. Weird stuff with rocks. But even if I woke up in the morning and just made that special sacred drink that woman made, it was just she made
Mhm.
lime or lemon with water and salt, which we make in our home too to rehydrate. But she does it as a ritual. And
Mhm.
she has maybe, I don't know, barefootedness and a candle. I don't know. But you can do it with anything. It's just, we're at different seasons in life. And I think it's important to say that this is not always something easy for everybody.
And so then I was talking about, I'm going to go to this part right now, which is my journal kind of thing. And so a few years ago, and it was a website, Megan, I think you might have told me, and you probably don't remember, you have had babies and everything else since you've told me about this. But anyway,
I read so much stuff, Mom, and then I'm like, you read it. It's probably been like, I
that's
don't know,
it.
100 things.
And her name, and it was a woman that wrote it, Linda Gadbois, Gadbois, and she wrote Personal Transformation and Mind Development. So I went through and I picked the things that were important to me. And these were the things that when I was doing my walks by myself, that I would repeat to myself, trying to change some of those pathways of thinking
Yeah. The
because I
neural.
do have some
Mhm.
I've developed that are not so positive. Yes, and the left-right movement of the feet does help with that rewiring of thinking. But anyway, the first thing I wrote down was rewriting the memories of the subconscious and begin telling a new story and evolves the soul by way of that story. That's how she began telling about what she wrote, she was writing. Anyway, so one of the things that I do say to myself is I'm fine the way I am. And I don't know why that's so big in my mind, but it really is. I'm fine the way I am. I guess I spent so much of my life thinking that of all the things that the mistakes I'm making, and I didn't do that right, and I didn't do, all those kind of negative things, instead of thinking, oh, wait a minute, because I can't be the fastest runner in a race, I'm fine, still fine the way I am. I do have my own things, whatever they are. This part, I choose to feel good about myself each day. Every morning, I'll remind myself that I can make the choice to feel good, and it is a choice. Um, so that, it's a new habit to cultivate, and it takes cultivation to do that kind of thinking,
It takes
and
cultivation. It does. Mhm. That's
especially in the
important.
middle of other things.
So, like, even though I say it's really hard for me to carve out 5 minutes of time to do something that looks spiritual in that way at this point in my life, I still devote a lot of my life to rewiring neural pathways. Um, Maybe not in myself at the moment, but in others.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like talking about your student.
I know.
One.
Mhm. That's
Mhm.
exactly so. Like, so all my
Mhm.
social communication coaching, because I'm part of I'm a speech therapist, right? But I
Mhm.
really have a passion for social communication coaching with neurodivergent older kids and young adults. And a lot of times they have a lot of trauma from being called different diagnostic labels and saying you can't do this and not fitting in and stuff. And we are trying to rewire those negative messages
Mhm.
over the course of sessions with me, which
Mhm.
is beyond normal speech therapy, but it is similar. So we're we're trying to reframe all these views about themselves that they've built up so that they can be more present in their lives with more joy as they are, because we're not going to get another body right now. You got your body. This is the one you got. You better be okay with it. I can't change that. I can't unzip them and put a new one on.
Mhm.
I wish I could sometimes for some of the kids I've worked with or people, but
Mhm.
um, that's not the journey we're on. So, yeah. So, I guess even though I might not be doing what looks spiritual sometimes in my day to day, I don't have my rocks and stuff. Um, I'm living it
Mhm. Yeah, you're living it.
and I
That's
hear
all.
what I'm telling them and I create resources for them.
Mhm. And her resources, by the way, they're even good for
I
mothers.
know, I know. They're good for everybody. That's my point. I'm like, I have that caveat, if you're going to do this with your students or your clients, you better be in for it for yourself too, because you're going to realize, wait a minute,
Mhm.
I've got to become more aware of myself and my purpose before I can be a good teacher.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly.
Not saying I'm perfect, but my drive to help other people
Mhm.
become more comfortable communicating authentically came from me and how I didn't feel comfortable
Mhm.
communicating authentically after a lot of traumas and just being here on earth as
Mhm.
me,
Mhm.
like everyone. We all
Yeah.
have a lot of traumas that create that, whether they're divorces or church systems that say you can't speak or just
Mhm.
being a certain gender or the way you look or maybe you have a disability. But yeah, that's what everyone's trying to find that peace. So this is saying there's nothing you have to do to get there. You just have to pretty much remember and
Mhm.
sense. But it's
Remember.
subtle. It's
Mhm.
subtle. It's faint. Those are the words in here. It's elusive, you know? And it's,
And to trust that it's good.
yeah.
That it is into that peace. I keep going back to that word, but to have peaceful feelings about or accepting of the peace especially when there's so many other things going on around you, that
Huh.
to find those moments of we're just breathing in, the breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out.
And
And I know,
that's a very
like,
structured practice in yoga, but
yes,
its roots are very spiritual.
yeah, yes, yeah.
I mean,
And I know when I would do these walking meditations, I'm going to start doing that again. I didn't call it walking meditation when I first started doing this. It's only after Megan and I talking about things, and I thought, this is a walking meditation.
the labyrinth, same thing. This all, I mean, we
Labyrinth.
didn't even get it until we started doing that and researching history. And it wasn't out of a spiritual need. It was just like, look at this cool place. This is cool.
Yeah, that's true. I
That's
love that.
great.
I
And
wish
you're
there
like,
was
wait a minute, that's pretty cool.
labyrinths everywhere,
Yeah.
but there's not. There's
I want
not.
one in my yard. I've thought about it,
Um,
but then I'm like, well, I don't think my husband's gonna like all the mowing after I put all the rocks in the backyard. Yeah.
so,
Spray paint.
well, and so I thought of some other things that I would say to myself. All is well in my world. I am at home in my body. That was big. Because we can all pick ourselves to pieces,
Mm,
our physical selves if we want to. But I am at home in my body. All here's kind of like a Taoist thing. All that I seek is already within me.
yeah.
And
I like
so
that.
I and another thing is I now free myself from destructive fears and doubts. And it's okay to say I love every cell of my body. And I know we have talked about talked about this Tao that's everything and everything all around us and in us and within every cell of our body, within every atom of our body and every atom that's around us or whatever. And to have that faith and trust in that it wants good, that it's just good,
It
period.
wants balance. It is
Balance.
directed. It's self-directed. We don't have to worry about it. We're in it. We're part of it. We're of it. Yeah. I was, can I read this little thing in here?
Yeah, I'm
So
done.
Zhu C, which I'm sorry, I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly, had this little commentary and was a Taoist and wrote, men of the world pursue their personal views, parade their wisdom, and so the Tao grows dim. Hermits of the forest, different by far, seeking seclusion, the beginning of the myriad transformations. But boy, that pursuit of knowledge, that desire to eat of the tree of knowledge is what we keep coming back to.
We do. Hmm. And
The
that's part
locking
of
us
it.
in with words, words
Our
and concepts.
shaping of the container, the
Yeah,
shaping
words
of the
and
vessel.
concepts. Yes, and we can't take off the container or we'll just poof because there's a purpose to us being here. We want to be in the container. And
Yeah.
we're doing the container game. We all lined up, we got our vessels, and we jumped in, and here we are.
I know this morning I was telling myself I was feeling many different things and I
Oh,
was telling myself, okay, I'm not sure about everything, but one of the things that keeps popping in my mind is I chose to be here.
in
So
some way,
in
yes,
some
yes,
way. In some
the
way.
way chose to incarnate.
Or something.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we incarnate's not a religious word necessarily. Mhm. Everyone chose to incarnate from the way. So yes, we do have people such as Jesus. And when you start looking at that deeper, it makes sense.
Mhm.
The way went into a vessel,
Mhm. Yeah.
ran around in a vessel, and there's some limitations on being in a vessel, such as not knowing you're in the vessel.
Mm.
And then once you realize you're in the vessel, it's a little confusing, and then you got to figure out what to do with that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, but we better appreciate our vessels while we have them, because it's
yes.
how we experience the senses.
Yes. So, yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Probably for
Yeah.
fun. And yeah,
Mhm.
I don't say that lightly because of working in the world of the disabled and differently abled for years and years. I don't say it lightly. I struggle all the time sometimes with what the purpose is of things. And I know people have chronic pain, and I've seen children who've been born into a world of pain, and I don't know I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't say that lightly.
Yeah.
Life
Hmm.
is a journey. not a checklist.
Mhm.
I think I used to say breathe deeply and enjoy. I don't
Well,
remember.
there you
Mainly it's the
go, Audrey.
checklist part. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Thanks. Mhm.
Good to be with you, Megan. Bye.